does it also apply to the United States of America? How do the people of Venezuela feel about this? Well, we saw a cross-section of them jubilating and a cross-section of them saying it is actually morally wrong for the U.S. to do what it did. Now, another thing to consider was the House taken along in this plan? Well, let me tell you, President Donald Trump said they weren't taken along. That the reason was that it was a very sensitive thing. If they had taken the House along, there would have been leaks. Obviously means that the United Nations was also not carried along about this operation. And then the question is that why was the United Nations quiet amidst all of this? Who is the largest shareholder and the major decision maker within the United Nations? It is the United States. We're going to be looking into what this means, particularly how the stunt that Trump pulled, how it's going to affect other nations, specifically Russia, China, and in the middle of this, one particular West African nation of interest, which is Nigeria. Let's take a very brief listen to Trump and what he said, admitting that oil was basically their major interest in all of this. Regardless of how a lot of people feel, the interest of America comes first.
The U.S. is going to run Venezuela. So who's in power right now?
Well, we're going to be running it with a group, and we're going to make sure it's run properly. We're going to rebuild the oil infrastructure, which will cost billions of dollars. It'll be paid for by the oil companies directly. They will be reimbursed for what they're doing, but that's going to be paid. And we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be. As you know, it was just a minor flow. It was actually a minor flow for what they have. But we're going to run it properly, and we're going to make sure the people of Venezuela are taken care of. We're going to make sure the people that were forced out of Venezuela by this thug are also taken care of.
Mr. President, does the U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, you know, they always say boots on the ground. Oh, so we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it. But we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. This is a very dangerous attack. This is an attack that could have gone very, very badly. Could have gone very badly. We could have lost a lot of people last night. We could have lost a lot of dignity. We could have lost a lot of equipment. The equipment is less important, but we could have lost a lot. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to be run very judiciously, very fairly. It's going to make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people. We're going to reimburse people that were taken advantage of. We're going to take care of everybody. It's very important. We couldn't let them get away with it. You know, they stole our oil. We built that whole industry there. And they just took it over like we were nothing. And we had a president that decided not to do anything about it. So we did something about it. We're late, but we did something about it. Yeah, please.
President, can you explain the exact mechanism by which you're going to run the country? Are you going to designate a U.S. official to coordinate?
Yes, it's all being done right now. We're designating people. We're talking to people. We're designating various people, and we're going to let you know who those people are.
What's the group you mentioned that would run Venezuela?
Well, it's largely going to be, for a period of time, the people that are standing right behind me. We're going to be running it. We're going to be bringing it back. It's a dead, I talk about a dead country. A year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're a country doing better than any country anywhere in the world. And it required leadership. Venezuela has a lot of bad people in there, a lot of bad people that shouldn't be leading. We're not going to take a chance that one of those people take over for Maduro. So you can look at, and others, we have fantastic people, including people in the military. So we're going to have a group of people running it until such time as it can be put back on track, make a lot of money for the people, and give people a great way of life, and also reimbursement for people in our country that were forced out of Venezuela.
You said earlier today that you weren't going to back Machado to come back and be the opposition leader in your Fox and Friends interview. And then you also mentioned the vice president of Venezuela. Are you going to work with the vice president of Venezuela, or how do you foresee the relationship going?
I understand she was just sworn in, but she was, as you know, picked by Maduro. So Marco's working on that directly. He's just had a conversation with her, and she's essentially willing to do what we think is necessary to make Venezuela great again. Very simple.
How long
Mr. President, Colombian President Gustavo Petro, a couple weeks ago, he said he's got to watch his ass. And today, he said he's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So, just what your message is
Well,
about
he
that.
has cocaine mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine. And yeah, I think I stick by my first statement. He's making cocaine. They're sending it into the United States. So he does have to watch his ass.
Mr. President, did you notify any members of Congress in advance?
Marco, do you want to talk about that? Because you were involved in it.
Sure. We called members of Congress immediately after. This was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional notification on. It was a trigger-based mission in which conditions had to be met night after night. We watched and monitored that for a number of days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function. Remember, at the end of the day, at its core, this was an arrest of 2 indicted fugitives of American justice, and the Department of War supported the Department of Justice in that job. Now, there are broader policy implications here, but it's just not the kind of mission that you can pre-notify because it endangers the mission.
Plus, if I could add one thing to that, Congress has a tendency to leak. This would not be good. If they leaked, General, I think it would have been maybe a very different result. But I have to say, they knew we were coming at some point, We had a lot of ships out there. They sort of knew we were coming. We wasn't. But Congress will leak, and we don't want leakers.
Mr. President, you were one of the only people to watch this all play out live. What was Maduro doing when the U.S. forces entered what I assume would be his home? And also, was there any point where the U.S. was considering if Maduro pushed back or resisted killing Maduro?
It could have happened. It could have happened. He was trying to get into a safe place. You know what a safe place is, all steel. And he wasn't able to make it to the door because our guys were so fast. They went through the opposition so fast. And there was a lot of opposition. People were wondering, do we get them by surprise? Sort of surprised, but they were waiting for something. It was a lot of opposition. There was a lot of gunfire. You saw some of it today. But he was trying to get to a safe place, which wasn't safe because we would have had the door blown up in about 47 seconds, they say on average, regardless of how thick the steel was. It was a very thick door. It was a very heavy door, but he was unable to get to that door. He made it to the door. He was unable to close it.
So Go
ahead, finish.
Where is Maduro going to be in the time being right now? Do you know his exact
Well,
whereabouts?
eventually, ultimately, in the near future, he's going to be brought to New York.
And where is he going to be held? Where is he going to be held in New York? Do you know?
That's going to be up to the officials that do the...
All right, I needed us to listen to Trump himself tell you that they would definitely be in charge of the oil pipelines, the oil wells in Venezuela. They imposed, I think the deputy president is the one there, but Trump said that they do not respect her. So obviously they're going to put someone in there in the interim that they think they would respect, but obviously it's going to be under the US's jurisdiction. The question that a lot of persons are asking is, did Trump literally have the right to do what he did? What kind of sovereign, every nation is supposed to be equal. So what right does Trump need, or what audacity does Trump have to do what he did? That's another question a couple of people are asking, especially for those who follow geopolitics. Now, I want us to remember that in 2017, thereabout, yes, beyond the time, Washington imposed economic sanction on Venezuela, followed by sanctions 2 years after, the oil sanctions. Apparently, Nicolas Maduro had actually sold some of the licenses, some of the American licenses to other countries. And another funny thing is that Maduro is a close ally of China and Russia. So they ask questions, how come these two world powers did not stop Trump from doing what he did? Or they could not even, there was no negotiation, or Trump did not speak with them before he did what he did? That question was asked. And to be honest with you, there's nothing they could have done. The interest of those people is themselves. If they ask a question between the deep blue sea and the hard rock, what would they choose? Obviously, they work with America. And what is the interest there? Negotiations will be had behind the scenes. Venezuela has close ties with China as well as with Russia. And obviously, Russia would go with America. But then what happened happened. Very few people knew about this because, according to Trump, if more people knew about this, it would have been dangerous. None of the soldiers or none of the, what do you call them? We call them SWAT operators who went in there were hurt or injured, but there was indeed a gun battle at the time. Nicolas Maduro had a safe space but couldn't get there on time. They said before he could close the door, they actually brought him out. So according to Trump, he's claiming that Caracas is using oil money to finance drug terrorism, human trafficking, murder, and kidnapping. And at the start of his second term in 2025, they had ended licenses that allowed multinational oil and gas companies to operate in Venezuela. I'm talking about multinational American oil licenses. They actually stopped them from operating. This obviously stirred the gore for the U.S. president. Now, one of the major companies that was denied his license to stop operating was Chevron, U.S. company Chevron. That was the only one to receive an exemption. Now, Chevron operates 4 oil fields in Venezuela in partnership with state-owned PDVSA and its affiliates. Washington has also imposed a total blockade on sanctioned tankers going to and from Venezuela. Now, if you recall before now, we saw fleets of ships, American ships, all right, taking over some oil tanks on the high sea. That is close to the border of Venezuela, and some of them were also arrested. I remember at the time Venezuelan president was asking the American president exactly why they were, will I say, apprehending or capturing their troops and some of their tankers that were conveying oil. Now, for the Trump believes that Venezuela is actually having a lot of illegal migrants into the U.S. and they've saturated the United States with a lot of drugs, illegal drugs. That's what Trump is actually claiming. But the big question is here. Does this literally mean that America can decide that any nation that does not live up to what it wants, they can actually come in there? Now, what is the relationship between U.S. America and what transpired, U.S. Nigeria and what currently happened with Venezuela? There are questions as to that. Maybe there is a supposed talk of regime change, and that's why Trump has his interest in Nigeria. There are other people saying that Trump is not happy with the Muslim ticket, making Nigeria seem like an Islamic nation, and something sinister is actually up his sleeves. Others believe that one thing that exonerated President Tinubu was because he worked quietly with the U.S. when they decided that they were going to be swift in handling terrorists in Nigeria. So the collaboration could have been one of his saving grace. Others are now asking, was the president even aware of what was going on? Because currently he's not in the country. And then to make matters worse, after what happened on December 25, 2025, we've been seeing more brazen and sporadic attacks by Islamic State terrorists. What does this actually mean? In Niger State, 30 persons killed and a lot of persons abducted, communities razed. That's not the only thing. In Kogi State, an inspector general was kidnapped, begging on camera. The terrorists put a gun on his head and they were, demanding for ransom. What does this actually stipulate about our security architecture? And the ground troops that the president told us they have, including our Air Force, how long will the American government do what they did on the 25th of December 2025 to eradicate these guys because they're getting more brazen? These are very intricate questions to respond to. But let's look at the political political implication of what Trump did in Venezuela and how Nigeria too is at a crossroad in here with what Trump recently did. A lot of Nigerians are kind of happy and saying, Trump, please pull the same stunt you put in Venezuela in Nigeria. And the big question is, would you actually want that? Because at the end of the day, whenever America comes somewhere and they decide to take over that government, when they leave, things are usually not the same in some instances. But America made reference to how they intervened in Iran and other countries that had bad leadership, and when they intervened, according to them, democracy was sustained. Is that true with Afghanistan? Is that true with Libya? We're going to look at the pros and cons of this. But however, let's take a very good listen to, I'm going to be calling Mr. Segun Sokoto to actually give us his own explanation politically. What does this represent for Nigeria? What does this mean for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Does this mean that to prevent any of this ahead of 2027, the APC would have to choose either a Christian vice presidential candidate or another, possibly somebody who is not a Muslim, all right, but somebody from the north who is a Christian that will be the president's deputy? Because the Muslim ticket, they say, is a tick on the nerve of US President Donald Trump. But why is this actually very important? Why is this of a necessity? Why should America either be comfortable or uncomfortable with the leadership of certain nations that they consider to be affiliates? How does it help them in any way? We're going to look into this in the course of the conversation. Meanwhile, there's another interesting scenario to consider right here in Nigeria is concerning Nyesom Wike. He seems to be within a deep rock and obviously a very huge Red Sea at the moment. He says that Fubara is never going to come back. And Fubara says, you know what, you're not going to determine that. Now, we don't know what is causing the political uprising, but according to Wike, he's already galvanizing for Tinubu ahead of 2027. Now, the question some people think is possibly this is a game plan. Tinubu trying to set up Fubara and Wike against themselves and have the upper hand at the end of the day. How true is that? We're going to consider that in the course of the conversation. In the meantime, interestingly too, Sheikh Gunmi is already crying out. He says he received a call from a senior official in Abuja warning him that he has been listed by the United States of America for elimination via an American airstrike. Allegedly, as part of Boko Haram, northern leaders and Islamic clerics must speak out against the false accusations. And because of that, most of the tweets Sheikh Gunmi had written on social media against America has actually been deleted. Let's take a very brief listen to Sheikh Gunmi's statement there.
Kuma kun san dukan ku ƙarya ne da ƙarya ka kawo hari amma ina shugabannin me suka yi sun sit ina malamai kawo muna hari kan ƙarya tsoratar da mu.
All right. So that's Mr. Sheikh Gunmi right there. He has deleted all his tweets and apparently he's afraid of the US doing what they know how to do. Mr. Shakwito, good evening. Welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, happy Sunday to you. I'm fine. I am fine.
Same to you.
Okay, so I know that you're watching ball. I already believe that. I know. So I don't want to waste your
wrong.
I know, I don't want to waste your time. So let's just go straight in. Because of what happened, I think yesterday or day before yesterday with the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro, apparently Nigerians are now focusing on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There are talks that maybe Trump wants a regime change in Nigeria. That this is a step to change the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And possibly there could be some changes in that regard before 2027 or by 2027. Others say because of what the Muslim ticket represents, and that could be a tick up the nerve of Trump, that there's a possibility that the APC would have to cede the vice presidential ticket for 2027 to a Christian, but obviously that Christian may be from the north. So the question now is this: how do you analyze the situation with Venezuela? Because Trump admitted it is to secure their oil wells. It's all about oil. Trump did what he did. The American government will take interim charge of Venezuela. So regardless of all the allegations against Venezuela and the drugs and illegality ongoing, does Trump have the right to do what he did? That's one. Two, Trump did not inform the House about this mission, this secret mission. He said if he did, there were going to be leaks and it would have been dangerous because it was a very sensitive mission. In other words, Nigerians now said it's very possible that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu can take decisions on the spot without going through the National Assembly. Case in point, the state of emergency in Rivers State and what he also did with Benin Republic when he sent 2 fighter jets down to that country to restore democracy without speaking with the House of Representatives or the Senate. What's your take on this, sir?
So first of all, I think it's important for us to understand without evocation of any thought.
Okay.
We have to be clear, right, that what Trump did is illegal. It is illegal. Under international law and convention, there are procedures to pursue if you feel that anybody, not just the president, but more so the president, whether illegal or illegitimate, or whatever name you want to give that person, if you feel that that person has committed a crime in your own territory, your country, there are international conventions that you have to follow to seek redress and get justice. You cannot be the executioner, the judge, and the victim in your own case. So you can't accuse somebody of committing crimes against your country and maybe other international jurisdictions as well, and also be the one to now go and declare the person that is responsible guilty, and you are the one that will go and arrest the person, you are the one that will try the person. It's absolute nonsense. This is, unfortunately, I can't say it's unprecedented because it has happened before by this same United States. It's important for us to understand that this is illegal under international law and convention, and unfortunately, nothing will happen because this is the United States. They are a big country, right is might as far as they are concerned. Not just under Trump, over the years, this is how America has always operated. When America was going to invade Iraq, they cooked up a lie about weapons of mass destruction. We all know now that it was a lie. But they cooked it up, and without waiting for the international community, for the United Nations, to ratify any kind of action, they moved unilaterally and did a regime change, toppled Saddam Hussein. Right? So this is not a new thing, but it is important to understand that it is illegal. Number two, Tinubu and our president, and Nigeria. Sorry. One of the reasons that this has happened to Maduro, very important reason, is that Maduro refused to play ball. He was very hardline in his approach to his interactions and relations with the United States and with Trump in particular, which is why Trump eventually decided, you know what, I'm taking this guy out. You guys know that in our own case, our president is a wheeler dealer, he's a horse trader, he's a political master class, as they say. He's not going to sit down and allow this to happen. Whatever Trump wants him to do, he will do it quietly. And that will be the end of the matter. So anybody hoping that something like this will happen in Nigeria, please quickly kill that, extinguish it. Now, bear in mind that it is important to state that the only way to change regime legally in any country, and more so in Nigeria, is through election. Or you can get your National Assembly to impeach a president you feel has committed impeachable offenses under the Constitution. Wishing and hoping that another country will invade your country to come and remove your own president is outright and absolute madness, with all due respect to whoever feels that way. That is not the solution. We cannot continue to think like this as a people. We are damaging our future. We are damaging our own lives. The solution to our problem is activism, is protest, is demanding governance, is standing up and asking the hard questions of our politicians. You cannot ask a foreign power to come and do your job for you. So let us stop being lazy. Let us get off our lazy asses on social media, and all that, and actually, make the demands that we need to make to get the change that we need.
All right, so
I hope I answered the 3 questions. I'm not sure.
So you remember when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declared a state of emergency in Rivers, and there were talks that he did not seek the consent of the National Assembly, that's the Green Chamber, and also the situation with Benin Republic, where he sent 2 fighter jets to restore normalcy. He did not consult the National Assembly. It was after a decision had been made before he decided to consult with them. Would you blame the president for executing that right? Because Trump just admitted that the House wasn't carried along. It may be obvious that the UN also was not carried along, because even Keir Starmer said that they were not part of the move by the US president, the capture of Nicolas Maduro and his wife. So the question now is this. It was a very sensitive operation. Trump did not carry most of the people he was meant to carry along. That means he unilaterally made that decision based on whatever information that was at his disposal. So the quick question here is this. What the president did, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, can we say now that the unilateral decision he made at the time without consulting with the House was right, or it's part of his executive right to do what he did, according to him, to maintain peace and order in Rivers and to also sustain democracy in Benin Republic?
Okay, so again, we live in constitutional, in a country governed by laws and by constitution. our democracy is a constitutional democracy,
Okay.
right? And in our own case, our constitution is codified. In other words, it's written in black and white. The reason it's important for it to be written in black and white is so that anybody can read and interpret it, as simply and as plainly as possible. And where there is conflict, we also have an Interpretations Act that provides for how, the content of the Constitution is to be interpreted anywhere that there is any kind of ambiguity or lack of clarity. Okay? So first of all, having established that, our Constitution gives our president, and our Constitution is patterned after the American Constitution to a very large extent.
Yeah.
So it's kind of similar. The American Constitution actually gives the American president unilateral but temporary power to initiate military campaigns on behalf of his country, subject to ratification very quickly. I'm not sure what the provisions of their constitution is, in terms of the timeline that ratification must happen, but subject to the ratification of their house, what they call their own house, which is a combination of the two chambers, right? In our own case, our constitution allows our president to take certain military actions unilaterally, subject to the approval of the Senate in Nigeria. So in the case of the state of emergency in Rivers, the president had the right to interpret the situation and declare an emergency. It is now the duty of the Senate to look at his interpretation of the situation on ground and say, no, sir, this situation does not warrant a state of emergency. We do not approve of it. Or, yes, sir, we agree with you, a state of emergency is required in this place. That's one. Now, in order for that to happen, the Senate is required by the Constitution to vote and make sure that there is a two-thirds majority ratifying such an action. In the case of this particular state of emergency, that never happened because there was a voice vote. It is impossible, logically, physically, and in any other way you want to look at it, to divide votes by voice. Because there were people who were against it. Many of them came out after that vote had been done to say, we are against this. But the Senate president decided to do a voice vote and said the yeas have it without knowing whether the yeas are even up to the 75% in the first place, the two-thirds majority in the first place, and whether there were people, many enough in the nays, to have invalidated that vote. So that was patently unconstitutional and should never have happened. So, and in the case of Trump, right now, in the American Senate, many of the Democratic, people on the other side of the aisle, the Democrats and the Republicans. So the Democrats have made it very clear that this is an illegal action and they are going to vote against it. Bernie Sanders, in particular, has put out a video to say that this is illegal. This is dragging America into a war that they did not bargain for, and that this is a president that promised to be a peacetime president, that is America first, and is doing the exact opposite. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how, this plays out in the American Senate, when they resume sitting, I think tomorrow. So the parallels are there between America and Nigeria, but, I don't think the president, talking about the Benin Republic thing as well, I'm not sure that the president has actually obtained the ratification of the National Assembly. If you have any news in that regard, you can let me know. But he is required, before you commit Nigeria to any foreign campaign, the Senate must approve it, either anticipatorily or, in retrospect. It must be approved. And I'm not sure that approval has been secured. So, now, if that campaign, if those bombings happened indeed, they were illegal. And it's an impeachable offense, by the way.
All right, Mr. Shagushopito, finally, before I let you go, the question a lot of Nigerians are asking is, because of what Trump pulled in Venezuela and his recent interest in Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu being on the spotlight, the question they're asking is, could this be that Trump wants to install a different regime that he's comfortable with? And installing does not necessarily mean imposing his government or imposing anyone, but possibly tilting the election outcome to something else beyond what, the political elites currently in government anticipates. For example, one of the things that we've heard was a grouse for the Trump administration is the fact that in Nigeria we flew a Muslim ticket, and it is under that guise they feel that that is what is currently destabilizing the country. Although insecurity has been pervading even when we had a Christian vice president. So the context here is this: does Nigeria in any way, based on what happened in Venezuela, can the same thing occur here? Is there any way it can take place, despite Nigeria collaborating with the U.S. with all it wants, all it wanted to know, and they're sharing intelligence and routing out terrorists? Is there any possibility of that taking place? We need to educate ourselves in that regard, especially for a couple of Nigerians asking Trump to do the same thing here. Hello? Okay. Hello, Mr.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. What did you say? Yes, I can hear you now.
So I said, first of all, I think it's very important to repeat that what happened in Venezuela was illegal.
Okay.
So what Trump is currently a criminal, so to speak. You have broken laws, you have committed a crime. He's an international criminal for invading another country to take out the president of that country. The only way he will not face the music is because America funds most of these, institutions that would normally have meted out justice against him. Now, bearing that in mind, what are the chances that he will go and repeat that same type of action in another country in quick succession? It is never, ever going to happen, even though it's Trump we're talking about, and we know there is no impossible with that man. But it is extremely unlikely because even himself is not stupid. He knows that having done what he is, he knows that he is actually stretching his luck and is pulling strings that can cut if he continues down this line.
Okay.
So it is unlikely he's going to repeat that in the case of Nigeria. Also bear in mind that, like I said earlier, our president is not, he's not being stubborn. He's cooperating fully with the United States. Now, on the Muslim issue, please let anybody that cares to know that Trump doesn't care. America does not care about your local politics and the issue of whether who is the Muslim, North-South rotation. And those are very, very local issues to our politics. The president of America is not going to tell you, install a Christian or install a Muslim, and all of that. It's up to us to stand against those things and insist that we don't want this or this is what we want. So what will drive America's action will be their own interests. The reason they're in Venezuela is largely financial. It is because Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world.
One of the largest oil reserves.
That of Saudi Arabia. Yes, larger than that of Saudi Arabia, and that is what Trump has already said it. He said, we are going to run that country, and our companies are going to invest and take their oil. Trump has said it. So there must be an economic interest that drives the actions of America, and especially the actions of President Donald Trump, who is a transactional man and a deal maker par excellence. So anybody hoping that is going to look the way of Nigeria and effect regime change, because of Muslim, Christian, or influence elections in 2027 in the direction of Muslim, or Christian, Muslim, or whatever, they are living in La La Land. Those are pipe dreams.
Okay.
America is not interested in those things. They're interested in their own interests.
Mr. Shegun Shokwiton, thank you so much for giving us your insight on that. You're
very much welcome.
All right. So I also have Mr. Tony Mbata right here in the studio. Mr. Tony Mbata, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, thank you for joining us today. This is the first edition of the Political Spotlight for the year 2026. And we must say that the year has started off dramatically with what happened in Venezuela.
Yeah.
Why do you think some cross-section of Nigerians wanted the same thing replicated here? I mean, you would have felt kind of cold with what happened, even if all of the illegalities and all of the accusations on Nicolas Maduro, the rigged elections that took place where even the opposition was running for his life by having to seek for safety in exile somewhere in Spain. The United Nations even had to give him a protection. Nicolas Maduro had actually been in the spotlight ever since, several sanctions imposed in Venezuela. But this actually what Trump did unilaterally without even carrying anyone along or significant persons along actually made a lot of Nigerians to speak, and they're asking, okay, what happened with the military intervention, routing out Boko Haram, that is the guys that they use. Is it possible that the same thing can take place here? Why we do not know? That's one question. And the second question that I'm asking is, why would some Nigerians be happy and that they will want the same thing replicated here in Nigeria? Where is that love? Where did the unity go? And what is the government not even concerned about how Nigerians feel towards them, for them to introspect?
Okay, before I answer the two questions you asked, I want to also make my own point on this Venezuela issue. One of the primary purpose of American invading this Venezuela is dollar issue. Venezuela have...
You said dollar issue?
Yes, let me explain.
Okay.
You know, dollar has been a major currency for all the trade and commerce in the world.
Okay.
Now, Venezuela, they have 302 billion barrel of reserve oil.
Okay.
And remember that Russia, China, Brazil, South Africa, and China, they have come together to form an alliance to make sure that they don't sell their oil with dollar. And they are selling in Russia currency, China currency, and that is a threat to Donald Trump and Americans. Now, Venezuela government, Nicholas, have already said they are no longer selling in dollar, and they are selling in China currency.
And they revoked some of the American licenses.
So this is a threat. Remember that they have the largest oil reserve. And by the time they are selling it, what it is telling about the American dollar. That means the dollar will lose its value. Remember some of the countries that tried it, Libya, Iran. What happened to them?
They invaded them.
They invaded them. That is purely finance. So Nigeria case study, Nigeria is still dealing on dollar. And like the last speaker said, our president is ready to do everything
or anything that they want
to make sure that American policy is not threatened.
Okay.
The dollar is one of the primary aim. So bringing all those allegations, oil, criminal case, nicotine, all those things are in order to call a bad
so
a
when
dog
you want to
a
hang
bad
the
name.
dog,
Yes,
you give
to
it a
hang
bad
him.
name.
So the issue is that the dollar is being threatened. This petrodollar.
Because even when Trump was addressing the press, he kept on saying our oil, the oil,
That is in order to make up story. The issue is that dollar is being threatened by Venezuela. So if such a thing happen, any country that tries it, America will not be happy.
But some Venezuelans were actually happy for what happened. We saw a cross-section of them jubilating.
Because they will be happy, because most of the things that happen in Venezuela is what is happening in Nigeria today. Because most of the election that brought Nicolas
Maduro
was adjudged to be flawed. Even with everything, when he came on power, now he was doing it. Even the second election that brought him, they said there was no even election. They didn't announce it up to tomorrow. So people are complaining. Now he went and if you look at their judiciary, they are what they call the ANEC, he are taking charge of it. Similarity happening in Nigeria, whereby any little thing, both the National Assembly, the judiciary will be dancing to the tones of the executive. So what is happening there is, so people there are not happy. Majority of the citizens of Venezuela have left that city to another country.
Specifically America.
America.
That's a lot of their migrants they're migrating to
America.
Yes,
when you look at all these things, you see that we have similarities of what is happening there and here. And opposition there, they don't have any say. They don't have anything to do. So Nigeria case study, many people are thinking that America will come. America will only protect their interests. And when they find out that their interest is being, having a problem, they will come in. Like this issue of terrorism. Americans came to Nigeria to bomb on that 25th because they believe that Nigeria has been a hub of terrorists.
Yes.
So what are we going to do? Are we going to fold our arms to what this thing happen? And the next thing is that it will happen to America. Remember that there was a time a Nigerian citizen was boarding a plane to go and bomb America. What's the name of that young guy before they apprehended him? Now, America seeing what is happening in Nigeria, they came in. And also, Muslim ticket is a threat to America, because they
Are you
may
sure?
be, yes.
You sure they care about the Muslim
Why
ticket?
I'm saying this is that, look at the terrorism. Why did they come? Why did they come to Nigeria on the 25th? Because they believe that.
But terrorism began in Nigeria way during.
Most of them are coming
time.
to Nigeria and having their way in and out, doing all of atrocities, killing people, and this thing will be a threat to them. So what did they want to do? To make sure that the Muslim radicals will not take hold of Nigeria to cause problem to them. Now, any school of thought that think in that direction may be right, because if you have Muslim ticket, most of the decisions will be taken by them. So they want to have something that will be. Let us see if we have a Christian vice president that will be when the decisions will be taken. Not that Americans are fighting for the interest of Nigeria, because Nigerians are giving them what they want. But the only thing, so that it will not affect them, their security there. Now, Nigerians clamoring for America to come, you will not adjure them to be
unpatriotic.
Yes, unpatriotic to the Nigeria issue because of what we are passing through, because of Nigerians are suffering, and anywhere they perceive that help will come, they will say, please come and help us. That is the issue. So Nigerians are not Nigerians are not dancing to the tunes of America to come because of what they will get. They are looking at an avenue where will our help come from? Can it be America that will give us this? And America, let me say it like
said,
America is not coming to give you money as a Father Christmas. Any 10 naira America spend in any country, they will get it. Now Americans are giving us war equipment, giving us salvation for security, health. They will collect it.
All right,
Mr.
Tony Mbata, a funny thing is, after what happened on December 25, there's an escalation of and brazen activity of this terrorists. 3 days ago, they burned 3 villages simultaneously. That's not the only thing they did. They threatened all Christians in Nigeria and warned them if they do not convert, they'll pay with their blood or they'll have to pay a tax. That is literally every Christian right now is a target. None of the spokespersons of the president spoke about it. 2 days later, Niger State, 40 persons abducted, several killed by fleeing terrorists who are running from the supposed site or attacks that is perceived from the U.S. Now, the president has given a major instruction to the Minister of Defense to ensure that those individuals are released as soon as possible, that those kidnapped are released, and that they should track down, apprehend the perpetrators of the Kasuan Daji attack, ensuring they are swiftly brought to justice. How do we know that before they are apprehended, that those that kidnapped wouldn't be killed? That's one. 2, how do we know money would not exchange hands? Because the problem is money keeps exchanging hands, and these guys keep coming back.
It will certainly exchange hand, but Nigerian government will not tell you. Now, prior to the Americans coming on the 25th, you see that Nigerian government has been, showing a don't care attitude of insecurity in Nigeria. Now, when Americans came to bomb on the 25th, you see as if Nigerians are now proactive. You see everywhere was quiet and Nigerians were happy. Now, this exposed the danger or expose the attitude of the leaders of this country when you come to insecurity in the country, that they are vulnerable themselves. They can't do anything because most of them are part of this terrorism we are seeing in this country.
It has become sporadic.
Yes.
Because in Kogi State, they stormed Idofin community. They killed one person, injured another. In Kano State, they actually kidnapped a police inspector, 2 others, beat them up on camera as they were begging for help.
That's what I'm telling you. When some of these things are happening, nothing is being done. It is perceived that because you have Muslim ticket, where the decision will be taken. And I remember, Nigerian government was pretending as if they are part of that operation. Okay. Let me tell you, honestly speaking, they know that, yes, they are giving information, but they don't know that Americans will bomb on the 25th. What they did was in order to do cover-up that we are part of the operation. Yes. And the American government knows that Nigerian government, the military has been infiltrated. Even there was a time a Nigerian president was telling Nigerians that even his cabinet, they have Boko Haram. So they know. Now, this issue of insecurity, Nigerian government cannot, and they don't have the capacity to do anything except foreign bodies like America. That's why America will try to play a policy that will favor them. that will protect their interests. Because if you keep having Muslim ticket, that can be policies that will be taken against them. And most of these Arab nations may try to capitalize on it to do certain things. We have seen it that most of these jihadists are coming from neighbor countries. Nobody stopped them. Our borders are very porous. They come in and they go out. So what is happening now? If America did not come, those things will have kept continuing. Even nobody knows what will have happened December time, on the 25th of December. So it's a way of exposing Nigerian government and our security in this country, that they have lost their control. Let us call a spade a spade. We need help.
All the while Trump did what he did, we never heard if Tinubu spoke with him either via the telephone. We never heard if there was an extension for an invitation for the President Tinubu to go to the U.S. All we heard were entourages communicated. The NSA, the chief of army staff at the time, along with other top, dignitaries who spoke with House of Rep member Ryla Moore when they came to visit. We didn't see pictures of them together with the president. We didn't see any presence of any face-to-face conversation with the president. We didn't hear if the president spoke with Trump via the telephone. All of this were done through delegates. All right. Now, this is basically why, the speculation arises in the polity as to the replication of what transpired in Venezuela right here in Nigeria, because Trump has literally not really shown that kind of wanting to have that familiarity with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In the midst of all this, the president is not in the country. First of all, traveled to Europe. Later, we heard he's going to Abu Dhabi, but now we heard he's in Uganda. He's meeting with the Ugandan president there, while they're going to be having their conversations and unilateral, bilateral relationship conversations and diplomatic whatever. But the thing is this, Mr. Tony, the aides of the president in all of this have only been focused on politics, political shenanigans, ever since Peter Obi joined the ADC, helping to decipher if that was the right move or not. And when all the insecurity was taking place, there was no response to that. Would you blame Nigerians for calling for the replication of what transpired in Venezuela in Nigeria? If you have a government that has supposedly been nonchalant, that has not been responsive to the needs of the people, there has been no conversation with the people. Let me give you an instance. When Trump did what he did last night, he had a press conference, and all the journalists, I just played it to you, they were all asking questions. There's only one time we had a presidential chat. The president has not found the need to speak with Nigerians, to have a conversation with the media, for him to explain some of the inordinances Nigerians are complaining about, the economic strangulation, the excessive insecurity across board, the fact that unemployment rate has has exponentially increased. Unemployment has exponentially increased, and we're seeing a sense of officers and public office holders not living up to their responsibilities. If you try to ask or protest, you are clamped down, you are silenced, or you're said to be one who is trying to cause unrest. So you see the responsiveness of the U.S. president with the press, asking and responding to questions. The president has not been able to communicate with his people, and there's a major vacuum. In that regard, would you blame Nigerians for that kind of headline that they have been spewing?
Esther, I've said it before that I will not blame Nigerians for clamoring for help from anywhere to see them through. And let me tell you something. When you have leaders that are insensitive to the citizenry, that are not leaders oriented, that are not leaders that want to build their state or country, these things will happen. Like APC government, what they are interested in to win election, and when you win this election, they don't know what power is all about, in the sense that this is a social contract that we have, given our sovereignty to you to be our leader, for you to do your own bargain. But what they're interested, the first day the INEC declared them winner, they began to plan how to win another election, not to better the life of the country. And also, secondly, we know the shenanigans that surround Mr. President and his dollar, whatever, Nikoti in United States of America, the impending cases there. And he will not go. But I know that Nigeria will have a very good bilateral relationship with America, because Americans are gaining. Because Americans are gaining. Not that we have this bilateral relationship that Nigerians are gaining more. No, it's because the Americans are gaining. So your president, my president, will be sending people in order to pacify America to gain what they are gaining, so that they themselves that clear to power can also gain what they are gaining. What are they gaining? Pack money, better their life, build us capital flight, and not to do something that the citizenry will benefit. Look at the tax regime, tax issue. They are not thinking of how to create job. It's only when you have money that you can pay tax. They are not thinking about it. And who is the company that are trying to, coordinate their tax? From France.
All right, let's look at this. A prominent Zaria-based Islamic scholar, Sani Khalifa, has been in detention for 23 days over an alleged link to purported coup plot against the president. Multiple sources who are familiar with the matter recently disclosed investigations are still ongoing as to the purported coup plot last year. You remember that the presidency tried as much as possible to stop the searchlight on the alleged or purported coup plot. Sahara reporters first of all released it, and then later we heard the names of these persons who were in connivance. Then you obviously remember the former Timi Silva being attacked and said he's part of those who are sponsoring it. His house has been sealed. The home where his wife and his kids are taken over by the EFCC. Timi Silva has not been brought back to the country, but he has been declared wanted by the Nigerian government over his connection with the alleged coup plot. Now, the cleric was reportedly arrested by security operatives in Abuja shortly after traveling from Zaria to resolve an unexplained freeze that was placed on his bank account. So the continued detention is coming despite repeated public denials by the FG that any coup plot against Tinubu existed. If we're seeing them continue with investigation, why do they keep denying that an alleged coup plot took place? Because there are names attached to this, and there are sources that have authenticated this. Bayo Nanaga came on national television to tell us nothing ever happened of that sort, but we're seeing more investigations take place. Premium Times is actually the one that exposes them. They're more into investigative journalism, and they said that the ordeal began when his bank account was suddenly blocked without any written notice, and so because he couldn't resolve it, he had to travel to where he feels is central to attend to it, and that was where he was taken, and he has been in detention for 23 days. So why the denial about the coup plot against the president, and when we're hearing this development?
You see, the APC government has been in such a spotlight all the time. Let us take a lead from the Bauchi State Governor, Bala Mohammed. He was saying that he was being forced, being cajoled to join APC because he refused. That's why they are cooking all these things. They are trying to force him. They are trying to intimidate him. We saw his advice.
That's his claim.
His claim.
It doesn't mean that investigations are not true.
That is claim. I don't say whether it's true or not.
Right.
But if you find out, if you look at what is happening to some of the Eastern governors and other people that are decamping to APC, one will wonder, or one will think, is there anything going behind the scene? Maybe they will bring something and cajole you. Now, when they say a coup plotter, they planned this, they did this, you will see most of the tyrannic leaders, this is how they started. They will accuse you, like this Venezuela the president. That is exactly what they are doing. If you are in opposition, or if you say anything that they feel that the government is being threatened, they will come after you. They will say either you are plotting a coup or you are going to the government. The next thing, they will apprehend you or something will happen. So I will not be surprised that APC government will deny it. But the fact on the ground says that these things are the realities of what they are doing. So they should not stop. They should stop denying most of these things. We are not babies. And also, it baffles me, most of these things that are happening. Now, we have insecurity in Nigeria. The DSS or other security agencies cannot apprehend these people. You will see that money will exchange hand when these people are being kidnapped. They will pay money. They will make a phone call. They will not track them. But any of these people that they perceive an enemy to the government, or they will not apprehend them. They know what they are going to do, either their bank account or their business, or they will track them. So if they can do all these things, they should extend hand to some of these bandits, some of these terrorists. They can get them.
All right, Mr. Tony Mbata, right about now at this very a particular point in time, while the political scenario adrenaline is, pulling or gathering momentum, Shehu Gunmi has deleted all his tweets that he made against America. According to him, he said he got intelligence report from his friend in Abuja saying that the United States of America intend to do exactly to him what they did to Nicolas Maduro, meaning that wherever he is, they could at one point in the night take him out. I'm sure you remember when an American citizen was kidnapped here in Nigeria. The United States government sent their own SEAL team to do what they know how to do. They did it and left the country. I don't know if the Nigerian government was aware of it or not. They did what they did and left. In less than 24 hours, they did what they did. Now, Gunmi is afraid that the same thing may happen to him, where they come and steal him out overnight. So the question is, if you're confident with what you tweeted, if all the things you have said about the American government, you believe in it and you're confident in it, and according to your religion, if you die for a just cause, you're going to heaven, why did you delete it? What exactly is your cause? Why are you afraid?
Let me be honest with you. Sheikh Gumi is not a threat to American government. If it's a threat, they will pick him up.
But he just
I'm
said,
coming. He's not a threat. Okay. If it's a threat, they will pick him. What he's trying to do is, in order to create a scenario that maybe something is happening when nothing is happening. All those things, he deliberately deleted it. It's not a threat. So he's just trying to create a political noise so that people will talk. It's not that it's a threat. We know all his stand. We know what he said. So for him to be saying it, people should not listen to him. Americans have seen him as nobody, and Nigerians should see him as nobody. He's trying to generate interest so that people, as we are discussing it now, that is the only thing. It's not a threat. He just want to. He's seeking for relevance.
Politically, Peter Obi joining the ADC have gathered quite the conversation across board. Now, some persons believe that an agreement was not reached. That if an agreement was reached, the ADC would have zoned. The APC has zoned. The PDP supposedly zoned, even if they're factionalized right now, but that they deliberately did not zone. If they had zoned, that certain arrangements or confidentiality would have been put across with the obedient group. For the obedience, they are saying they only represent Peter Obi. Anything outside Peter Obi, they're not part of it. Even if they are joining the ADC, they join because of Peter Obi. And that nobody should come and tell them that even if Peter Obi no longer is in the ADC, they would remain. Yunusa Tanko made that statement on Friday. And a lot of them have counted and said, Mr. Yunusa, if Peter Obi is not considered as a party flag bearer, right, after your primary or whatever consolidation you guys are consolidating, we will not be part of this. A couple of them are saying we would not even allow Peter Obi to be a VP. It's the time of the South, and you guys should make sure that you consider that. But do you think all of those considerations were not considered by Peter Obi before he formally joined the ADC? That's one question. Two, the obedience that are saying this, are they truly obedient, or they're APC affiliates permitting or pretending to be obedient? And would you even blame some sections of the obedience who are not happy with the fact that some things are not clearly spelled out and they're a little bit hesitant to join the ADC?
Esther, most of these things that you see that people are talking are members of APC. Okay. Let me tell you, the simple truth is that the APC government have been trying a way to infiltrate obedience and to know what ADC party. Let me make it clear. I'm not a member of any political party. Now. But yes, for now, I'm not. And I don't want to be for now. Okay. Now, ADC has shown that they are doing their things in their own way. Okay. And APC has been trying to infiltrate to know what is happening. That's why people like the Minister of Aviation will come and tell you that P2B have betrayed his people because he want to take a VP slot to Atiku. The question you ask him, are you there when the agreement was reached? The answer is no. So all this thing is just for them to find out what is happening. Remember when they want to converge in Abuja the first time, that Nyoso Wike seized the ground, thinking that they will be there, and something else happened. Remember the issue between the national president, David Mark, and some other Okachukwu, and all these things was solved today, surprise of the APC. So they are trying. What they are doing to PDP, what they are doing to Labour, they thought they can do it with ADC, and it's not happening.
What is currently going on in the political space? What can you say is your prediction? Because for Wike, he is saying that if Fubara comes back the second time, that he's politically buried and that they will not allow that.
Let me finish with the ADC. Now, P2B joining ADC. Remember that P2B said that before I can declare I can do this, there are so many things we need to agree. And when we agree, so that if we are contesting for primaries,
Peter Obi has been part of the coalition.
Yes, he has been part of coalition. But when they asked him to,
he hadn't formally joined at the time.
Yes.
Meaning that he had been following up every conversation and every consultation. Obviously, whatever it is, he has agreed to it for him to have formally joined.
That's what I want to let you know. That for him to join and for him to openly to say, I am now in ADC to contest. That means they must have agreed on certain things. Nobody knows. So whatever we are doing here is just, trying to speculate. Is it this? Is it that?
Right.
But them that have sat on the roundtable conference know what they have agreed.
The political scenario is picking up now. Trump has already set up the tone for 2026. The situation with Peter Obi on the 31st of December 2025 has also set up the political tone. There is a serious situation ongoing between Fubara and Wike. Right now, Fubara has the immunity of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and obviously he has been given the confidence that by 2027, if you intend to recontest, I have your back. Wike obviously is not happy about that and has vowed that Fubara cannot come back. Apologize to the people of Rivers that he made a very grave mistake, but that it will not be repeated, and that if Fubara re-emerges, it means he's been buried politically. Others have said that the president is the one joining the heads of those guys together. What's your take on that? So we can
by Wike saying such, Wike knows that his political career is coming to an end, and anybody in the position of Wike will also fight and also make noise. But the noise Wike is making shows that Wike is not politically intelligent. Why? Because one, Wike, you are not God that will determine what will happen tomorrow by saying that you can't get the second term. And remember that this is a governor, and the APC government need them. No matter however you look at it, he's a sitting governor. He has loyalists. And the allocation is coming to him direct. You are a minister. You are not a governor. Now, and if there's any school of thought that's saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing those things, is not far from it. Because in all these things, Wike will be fighting to please Tinubu. Fubara will be fighting to please Tinubu. All of them, they were all for him. So
that means they're both serving his interest.
All of them are serving his interest. So allow them to fight. Whoever win will be the
to his
team.
advantage.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Tony Bata. Let's take your reaction right about now. Very few calls. 080-3692-9933. 080-3692-9933. The WhatsApp number is 0817-1756-338. Hello, good evening. How are you?
Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, welcome. Happy New Year to you. What's your name?
Same to you. This is Wale calling from Ayobo.
Wale from Ayobo, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Please go ahead.
See, on Peter Obi and his supporters saying that they want to let him collect vice president post. Even the vice president post, he deserve it. Talking of a president post. This is a man that lacks the principle.
What do you mean by does he deserve it? I would like you to speak with facts and not to be condescending. Okay?
Yes, no.
Okay, so speak with facts.
Not be condescending. Does he deserve it?
Who deserve it in what context? What do you mean does he deserve it?
Thank you very much.
Yes, hold on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
If you say you have to have a degree, what did he do for him to say he want to become a vice president of Nigeria? What antecedent do you have for you to say you want to become a president of this country? As the governor of Lagos State, you failed woefully. Even your successor were complaining bitterly against you.
How do you mean he failed woefully?
He failed woefully.
But the constituents, the persons in Anambra State, none of them are actually saying that he failed.
Who told you that?
You say he failed woefully. Give us one of the areas he failed woefully.
When Obianu said Peter Obi siphoned Anambra State money and put it in offshore account.
Why not EFCC do their job? Why haven't EFCC arrested him? Mr. Wale, you are talking based on ignorance, please.
Peter Obi is in prison.
Please.
Peter Obi, even the president Peter Obi is in prison.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Wale. Thank you. He's entitled to his reaction to issues here. Hello, good evening. How are you? Happy New Year. Please hold on, let me connect you. Yeah, I think it's connected.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Happy New Year to you.
Hello?
Sir. Good evening.
Hello?
I can hear you, sir. Good evening. Happy New Year to you.
Hello?
Hi.
Okay, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. That man that just
Sir, what's your name? What's your name, sir?
My name is Azubike. I am calling from Igondo.
All right, Mr. Azu, welcome. Happy New Year to you.
I wish you the same.
All right, please go ahead.
I'm actually reacting because someone called, someone that doesn't have facts called. Okay? Please, people should leave Peter Obi alone. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Ozzy, thank you for calling. 08036929933. That's the number to call. Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Happy Sunday to you and Happy New Year.
I wish you the same. My name is Mark Modest.
Mark Modest, welcome.
I just want to chip in the first person you called on the phone.
Mr. Shagun
I saw Mr. Shagun Shekuto. I saw a political talk in that his speech, but that's his own opinion, like you people normally say. But what I want to chip in here is that this oil, they say Venezuela want oil, America want to take their oil. Nigeria don't allow America to come. This oil we are talking about, do we actually have the oil? Who are the people benefiting the oil? Is it not better for the America to even take over the oil and for everybody to live happily and fine than all this nonsense they are saying oil? At the end of the day, now oil that some people have shared to their grandchildren to come. Even the people that they will not even know, the people that will spend that money in future, they don't even know how the money came to one or two accounts. They are just embezzling it. This America, if America can even do it, look at all those data boys. Look at that guy just called now talking about Obi. Now, do you know that as of that time, Obi was governor of Anambra State? According to the fact or the information I don't even know about now, Ali Mosho local government is richer than Anambra State. Ali Mosho, I'm not even talking about like 2 or 3. Ali Mosho local government is richer than Anambra State. For you to see how much oligarch can come into Ali Mosho and Anambra, and some people that have, if you check that guy, he has not eaten food today. He's speaking with anger because they give him 20,000 to be calling out the radio station. In fact, I don't want to talk more.
Thank you, my dear.
Thank you very much for calling. All right. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yes, happy Sunday to you, sir. Happy New
Yes.
Year.
Same to you. Gabriel is my name.
What's your name?
Gabriel.
Gabriel, you dey use loudspeaker. Your voice, the boomerang. Well, go ahead, sir.
Well, anyway, some people don't know the antecedents of Peter Obi. You don't know what Peter Obi did in Anambra State. How many billions he saved before Obi Anambra came in?
Okay.
The security of Anambra State was taken. He JTF. Can't ask anybody. Ask concerning the education. Number one, when Peter Obi was done, the seats. Healthcare, he was even number one. All those things. I don't know what this Wale is. He called on Thursday. Yes, I know he called on Thursday. The same thing he normally speaks. He normally says. This is what he normally does.
Yeah.
For the last caller, he said to me about oil. I side with him. Let the Americans come and take over the oil. Let us enjoy. Let those people like Ned who put them that have oil blocks, all those people that have oil blocks, let them move from their hands so that Nigerians will enjoy this country. For me, that's what I see for now.
All right.
For Peter Obi, he's going to be the next president of this country. He will, and definitely will. He will. He will. Thank you very much.
People like Wale don't kill themselves.
If you come out to vote. Hello, good evening.
I don't
How
know
are
if you can hear me. This is Dr. Adegoke from Gunmi.
Yes,
I just want to comment. I just want to comment based on the submission of Mr. Wale. I'm a Yoruba man, typical Yoruba man. But you see, some of our people, I think some of them reason through their nose.
Thank you.
If Peter Obi is so bad to the level this guy is painting him, I believe EFCC will have, apprehended him. They will have been calling him for interrogation. But some people, maybe because of what they want to eat or this tribal sentiment, has blocked their reasoning. Their reasoning. So. And I'm not surprised because Mr. Peter Obi stands as a most credible candidate now. That is why a lot of people are throwing all this trash to him.
Not a lot.
One thing that is certain is this: people will not even throw any stone to a tree that doesn't bear any fruit. Is the tree that has a lot of fruit on it that they throw this thing. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir, for calling.
I want to correct something. There are very few, but they are trying to make their voice loud.
Okay.
They are very few.
Hello, good evening.
Happy New Year to you, sir.
I wish you the best.
All right.
This is Sunday calling from the Jegu.
Sunday from Ijegu. Go ahead.
Yeah, from the Jegu. Mr. What is that? I agree with.
Good evening, sir.
My question concerning what Trump did in the race. Understand?
All right.
I mean, I think that the real case like Nigeria case, where you have something that will be the future of the country, and people are on it. People on the power, people on it. You understand? And the area of people do, for me, I suppose people to go to APC because you didn't say, I remember what Trump said. He said that Labour Party has no structure. You understand? And in the boss where I used to bring newspaper, I was saying that the people was right. They said what I said. After voting, there are people that will stand and monitor the result of the election. Labour Party don't have such people that follow the local government to the state government to central. You understand? But what people do now is, I believe that so I when you join the ADC, they must have agreed on what we should say. You understand? What I'm happy that you say that. What I'm happy that you say is this. Two people cannot issue. Men are there. You understand? This is not God's issue. Men are in that ADC who know how they do the regular, how they do everything. So I pray that they should give the ticket. You understand? And if they do the ticket, APC can lead the election. Because men are there.
Much. Thank you. Thank you. Quite an assertion there. Let me take a few messages. Good evening, Esther. Happy New Year. We Christians made a serious mistake by accepting Muslim ticket to be in the seat of power of this great nation called Nigeria. When we opposed it, Shetima, the vice president, told us that President Tinubu will be in charge of economic and governance, while he will be in charge of security. You can see now, he being in charge of security, they are using it to turn Nigeria into Islamic State by going about killing northern Christians in Plateau, Adamawa, and Bendel State, telling them to turn to Islam or they'll pay with their blood. Well, what ISWAP is going about killing Christians and burning their houses, if Christians rise up and retaliate, would it not turn to a religious war? All right, thank you for your message. Good evening, VOP. Why is the issue of Peter Obi given the likes of Wale sleepless nights? The man is not even in power. He is neither the president nor the vice, or neither does he hold any political office. Is it that he stands? Why are we like this in this nation? This Wale guy will just call every time just to spill out what he doesn't know without facts about Obi. What a shame. I really weep for the ignorance of the likes of Wale. Michael from Surulere. Wike said that he will support the president and nobody should interfere with governorship elections. This is going to be war. Charles from Okota. He actually, when he went to visit one of the traditional leaders in Rivers, Wike told him, I think it's Ateke Tom, he said, I like you, you're my friend, but don't interfere in the politics. Don't interfere in the politics. The politics that is going to take place now in Rivers.
Nike knows that he will do nothing.
Don't interfere.
He will do nothing. All those is rigging machineries within Obiakpo local government.
Chike from Ikorodu says, good evening, Esther. The purpose of Muslim ticket have been defeated. The vice president could not solve any terrorist activity, even in the northeast where he comes from. Mr. Tony, do you think the president will get another vice? Someone
yes, that's let me tell you, honestly speaking, if you look at what is happening, they are rooting for a Christian vice president
for 2027.
But it is not easy for President Tinubu and APC, so they are trying to see how they are going to manage it. Let me tell you, there are two things that will happen. Either Tinubu will go, another political party will take over, or Tinubu get a vice president and we'll see how to support you. And another thing that Nigerians should know is that this election, remember APC came with the help of former president.
Mr. Tony, I just wanted to get that because we have a very short time. Mr. Tony and Esther, tell Mr. Wale that his problem is tribalism. Pastor Titus and
he's ignorant, not only tribalism.
This person says, Esther, you don't read my messages again. Which message did you send now? Good evening, Esther and the guest. Couple of weeks ago, FG wrote off large sums of money from NNPCL. Few days later, NNPCL declared profit. This is the kind of round tripping and corruption that is going on in the petroleum sector headed by PBAT. On tax law, I think the greatest challenge is lack of trust by Nigerians. Nigerian government cannot be trusted. But you sent this message was since Friday now. That was like 9:06 p.m. So what message did you send now that I did not read? And then no online chief from Ayabal. Esther, please allow people to express themselves as they call. While he was criticizing Obi, you didn't allow him to express himself. Chooks from Okeafo. Chooks, please, he was allowed to express himself.
He
very,
didn't
very
even
well.
anger and bitterness
So,
and
Mr. Chooks,
ignorance could
don't
not allow
start
him
with
to
that
talk
agenda.
well.
He was allowed to express himself. Good evening, Esther and Tony. You guys are talking about Wale all the time. Leave Wale. He's entitled to his opinion. Good evening. Good evening to you too. Thank you very much. Okay, well, this is good evening. Happy New Year, Miss Esther. Thank you. Happy New Year to you. And Tony Mbata, the man who called and said Obi is not qualified to be either vice or president. Mr. Wale should come with evidence or forever remain silent. All right. Thank you very much for your message. Good evening, VOP family. My name is Prince Samuel Ofobisi Oji from Ajugula, Akpakpa, Lagos. INEC is one of Nigeria's big problems and should be dealt with. All right. Good evening. Thank you very much for your message. Wow. Okay. Hello. Good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, this is Emeka from Ogun State.
All right, Emeka, very quickly.
Can you hear
Welcome
me?
to the program. I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Emeka, I can hear you. Go
Okay.
ahead.
What I want to say is that concerning Mr. Wale, he wants to make himself popular in this station and almost to change the topic. So that is that about that. Another thing I want to say in the area of our place, I saw that they were interviewed by the journalists. Why is it that journalists in Nigeria cannot interview the presidents or the governors in this nation? Is it forbidden? Because I don't think it have been so common like that. Number two, when Mr. Tony says that Nigeria, are not capable to do what to fight the Boko Haram. Is it that our military are not capable, or the politician has pockets the military in their pockets and using them as a med? So
where we have access to them is through their spokespersons or their media aides. That's how we get a response from them. And it's a culture in this part of the world. It's very, very unfortunate, to be honest with you. They're meant to speak with journalists most times, but they really don't like doing that.
Yes, you are here when a retired general, Theophilus Danjuma, I quote, he was telling us that the military, your military, is colluding with the bandits and terrorists, and you know, you have answered the question, and you can see what is happening today. That your politicians, most of these military generals have turned to be politicians. Most of them give them oil block. We know what is happening. A general was killed by a bandit or terrorists in a most disgraceful manner. Nothing happened. So your military has been compromised.
All right. Good evening, Ms. Esther, Mr. Tony. Is it that no other person can emerge as a neutral person to challenge the status quo in Rivers State? During the first part of their fight, the people divided one side for Wike and the other for Fubara. The same thing is happening again now. No other person is fighting to liberate the people from these self-serving politicians. Thank God for Mikoto. Well, I don't know, but you're right. That's a very good one that you said.
We are still coming. 2026, 2027, we will see.
We can tell. You can actually tell because Wike's hinge is that he made Fubara. That's why he thinks he can decide.
He didn't make Fubara.
That's what he keeps saying.
Some people
he
made
said so on Friday that he made him. Okay. He made him become governor. I brazenly said that.
Amechi made him too.
Disclose that. So again, these are the times. Don't worry. A couple of dramatics we will experience this period. Good evening, Esther. Happy New Year. Particular concerned political party and its supporters seem uneasy whenever the name of the most eminently qualified candidate in Nigeria's political space comes up. Its talent. Truth has a way of unsettling those who fear it because light and darkness can never coexist. King Injamjika from Igondo. Good evening, Esther and Mr. Mbata. Well done work. It's a welcome development as Obi joined the ADC. Finally, at the end, Obi becomes the flag bearer of ADC. Obi is the next president come 2027 presidential election. Go and write it down today. Mekuna not to talk, it's too early. Trust me, because there's a lot of obstacles on the way, and there are a lot of factors to consider before you make such predictions. Mr. Akitato Lalekon in Ijai says, good evening, Esther Wachiku, Mr. Chukwito, Mr. Mbata. Mr. Mbata Amutala was the Nigerian who dropped the bomb in an American-bound plane. On Trump taking up the Venezuelan president, Venezuela being a sovereign state or not, did he actually perpetuate the crime? Make una forget Wike, he's a You're accusing someone on the radio without a basis of your argument. Make una leave caller Wale Jerry. All right, Akita Kolaliko, thank you so much. Mr. Tony Bata, what's your final take?
My final take is that people like Wale should debunk and free their mind from this circle of timidity and tribalism. P2B is more credible than even the president that is ruling you today.
So are you saying that anyone who doesn't support Peter Obi is being tribalistic?
No. Okay. The way he talks.
Okay.
The way he talks with bitterness, anger, as if he see P2B, he will kill him. He should desist from it.
Okay, thank you very much. Like we always say, politicians are not saints. Whichever the case may be, more theatrics, more dramatic scenarios will unfold. Please do not get too emotionally invested because a lot of roller coaster is going to take place. Let's just keep our heads sane and keep ourselves politically aware so that when it's time to vote, nobody is going to cheat you out of your constitutional right. My name is Esther Wachiku. It's a beautiful Sunday. Happy first Sunday of the year 2026. This is the first edition of the Political Spotlight. The second edition will next week Sunday. However, tomorrow I'll be seeing you on the Evening Rush and the World News at 6. To kindly stay with us at VOP 903 FM. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel at Estiq Media on YouTube. ESTIQ MEDIA. Estiq Media on YouTube. There we have unfiltered conversation, no holds barred. Do have yourself a wonderful evening, Mr. Tony Bata, right? Chimam Bata on Facebook.
Chimam Bata Facebook.
Have yourself a wonderful evening. Bye for now.